It's time for Invincible Characters' Evil tier list. I wanted to do it for a long time. Now let's start. Omni-Man. Omni-Man, also known as Nolan Grayson, is a member of the Viltrumite race, a powerful alien species bent on conquering and subjugating other worlds. He was sent to Earth as an advanced scout, tasked with paving the way for an eventual Viltrumite invasion. For years, he played the role of a beloved superhero, gaining the trust and adoration of humanity. Just when you thought Omni-Man was the epitome of heroism, he pulls the rug from under our feet. In a shocking twist, he brutally betrays his own family and unleashes a reign of terror upon Earth. His true mission? To soften the planet for the impending Viltrumite conquest. Omni-Man's actions are nothing short of diabolical. He decimates entire cities, indiscriminately slaughtering countless innocent lives. His strength and powers are used not for protection but for subjugation and domination. He even goes so far as to mercilessly beat his own son, Mark, leaving him battered and broken. In the end, Omni-Man's actions speak louder than any words. His betrayal, his disregard for human life, and his willingness to sacrifice everything for his race's conquest make him a truly evil and despicable character. He has earned his place in the Devil tier. Next, Atomic Eve. I gotta say, when it comes to Atomic Eve, she's a real stand-up gal. I mean, this chick puts her money where her mouth is, you know? She's always down to risk it all to keep the civilians safe. That's some serious selflessness right there. But it's not just about the heroics, fam. Atomic Eve's got a heart of gold too. She uses her celeb status to shine a light on important causes, and that's dope. I respect someone who's got that kind of compassion and empathy for others. What really seals the deal for me, though, is her unwavering moral compass. Temptation's gotta be real when you're that famous and powerful, but she never compromises her values. That kind of integrity is mad respectable. So, yeah, Atomic Eve's a real one. With her selflessness, compassion, and strong moral fiber, she's definitely earned her spot in the good tier. Invincible. Now, Invincible's a whole different story, my dudes. This kid's been through some serious stuff, and it's left him in a bit of a moral gray area, you feel me? I get it, though. With a dad like Omni-Man causing all kinds of chaos and the weight of protecting the Earth on his shoulders, Invincible's had to make some tough calls. That kind of moral ambiguity ain't easy to navigate. But here's the thing. Invincible's been growing and evolving throughout his journey. He started off all wide-eyed and idealistic, but life hit him with some harsh realities. That kind of character development is dope, even if it means he's straddling that line between good and evil. And let's not forget about those conflicting loyalties, fam. Invincible's torn between his family ties and his duty as a protector. That internal struggle adds some serious depth to his character, making it hard to just label him as one or the other. So, while Invincible might not fit neatly into the good or evil boxes, that's what makes him so interesting. He's carved out his own space in the neutral tier, and I'm here for the moral complexity. Moving on to Robot. Yo, when it comes to Robot, I gotta say, the dude's a bit of a wild card, you dig? On the surface, he might seem like a chill mechanical homie, but once you peel back those layers, you'll find some pretty morally gray tendencies. I mean, don't get me wrong. Robot's got his moments where he tries to do the right thing. But at the end of the day, his methods are often sketchy as hell. Dude's not above using underhanded tactics or bending the rules to get what he wants. And let's not forget about that whole taking over the world vibe he's got going on. Sure, he might claim it's for the greater good, but let's be real. That kind of power trip rarely ends well. But here's the thing, fam. As messed up as Robot's approach can be, I can't help but respect the fact that he owns it, you know? He's not out here pretending to be some goody two-shoes hero. Dude's like, yeah, I'm a bit of a shady mofo, deal with it. So while Robot might not be the most upstanding citizen in the game, his morally gray methods and world domination aspirations definitely earn him a spot in the somewhat evil tier. Now, let's talk about Damien Darkblood, shall we? This guy's like the epitome of that chaotic neutral energy. You feel me? On one hand, Damien's got this whole protector of the innocent shtick going on, which is dope. Dude's out here trying to keep the streets safe and all that. But then, on the other hand, his methods are straight up questionable, fam. We're talking torture, brutal beatdowns, and a general disregard for due process. Damien's idea of justice is more like a shoot first, ask questions later kind of vibe. And let's not forget about that dark, brooding persona he's got going on. Dude's like a walking, talking edgelord, complete with the angsty backstory and all. But you know what? I can't help but admire Damien's dedication to his cause, twisted as it may be. Dude's out here risking it all, even if his moral compass is a little off. So while Damien Darkblood might be a bit of a loose cannon, his questionable methods and vigilante tendencies definitely land him squarely in the somewhat evil tier. Just don't get on his bad side, you feel me? Time for Black Samson. When it comes to Black Samson, I gotta give props where props are due. This dude's the real deal, you dig? Like, he's the embodiment of what it means to be a true hero. I mean, just look at the way he carries himself, fam. Dude's got this unwavering sense of justice and moral code that he lives by, no questions asked. He's not about to compromise his values or take any shortcuts, even when the going gets tough. But it's not just about being a stickler for the rules. You feel me? Black Samson's got a heart of gold, too. He genuinely cares about the people he's sworn to protect, and that compassion shines through in everything he does. And let's not forget about that raw power and skill he brings to the table. Dude's an absolute beast on the battlefield, but he always keeps it classy and respects the line between necessary force and straight-up brutality. So, with his strong moral fiber, compassionate nature, and badass yet disciplined fighting abilities, Black Samson is a no-brainer for the good tier. Dude's a real inspiration, you feel me? The Immortal. Now, when it comes to the Immortal, I gotta say, this guy's a real wild card, but in the best way possible, you dig? On the surface, dude's just this ancient, immortal being with mad power and knowledge. But once you really get to know him, you realize he's got a heart of gold hidden under all that mystery and mystique. I mean, think about it. The Immortal's been around for literal eons, and he's seen some serious stuff go down. But despite all that, he's still out here fighting the good fight, using his abilities to protect and serve the innocent. And let's not forget about that wisdom and insight he's accumulated over the centuries, fam. Dude's like a walking, talking encyclopedia of knowledge, and he uses that wisdom to guide and mentor the next generation of heroes. But what really seals the deal for me is the Immortal's unwavering commitment to doing the right thing, no matter the cost. Dude's not afraid to make sacrifices or take the hard road if it means upholding justice and protecting the greater good. So, with his ancient power, vast wisdom, and uncompromising moral compass, the Immortal is a shoo-in for the good tier. Dude's a real MVP, you feel me? Alright, now we gotta talk about Alan the Alien. He's not quite good, but he's not exactly evil either. He's just kind of there, existing in that neutral zone. I gotta give it to Alan though. Dude's got some mad survival skills. Like, he's been stranded on Earth for who knows how long, and he's managed to adapt and blend in like a pro. But here's the thing, fam. Alan's motivations are kind of all over the place. Sometimes he's out here helping the good guys, other times he's just looking out for number one. Dude's got a serious case of every alien for themselves mentality. And let's not forget about those shady dealings he's always getting mixed up in. Alan's not above bending a few rules or greasing a few palms to get what he wants. You feel me? But you know what? I can't help but respect the hustle, you dig? Dude's just trying to survive in a strange new world, and he's doing what he's gotta do to make it happen. So, while Alan might not be a shining beacon of good or a straight-up villain, his morally ambiguous nature and questionable methods definitely land him squarely in the neutral tier. He's just out here doing his own thing, and I can vibe with that. Now, when it comes to Cecil Stedman, he's just this government suit trying to keep things running smoothly. But once you peel back those layers, you realize homie's playing a whole different game. I gotta give it to Cecil, though. Dude's got mad skills when it comes to manipulation and playing both sides. He's not afraid to get his hands dirty or bend a few rules if it means achieving his goals, whatever they may be. But here's the thing. Cecil's motivations are kind of a mystery. One minute he's helping out the good guys, the next he's throwing wrenches in their plans. Dude's like a real-life game of will he or won't he. And let's not forget about that whole greater good shtick he's always spouting, you feel me? Cecil's convinced that his shady tactics are all for the best. But who's to say he's not just serving his own interests? So, while Cecil might not be a straight-up villain or a squeaky clean hero, his morally ambiguous nature and willingness to play both sides definitely land him in the neutral tier. Duplicate. I mean, just look at the way she carries herself. Duplicate's got this unwavering sense of justice and moral code that she lives by. No questions asked. She's not about to compromise her values or take any shortcuts, even when the going gets tough. But it's not just about being a stickler for the rules, you feel me? Duplicate's got a heart of gold too. She genuinely cares about the people she's sworn to protect, and that compassion shines through in everything she does. And let's not forget about that raw power and skill she brings to the table. Fam. Duplicate's an absolute beast on the battlefield, but she always keeps it classy and respects the line between necessary force and straight-up brutality. So, with her strong moral fiber, compassionate nature, and badass yet disciplined fighting abilities, Duplicate is a no-brainer for the good tier. Darkwing. Yo, Darkwing's a real OG. This dude's been holding it down for the good guys for longer than I can remember, you dig? I mean, just look at the way he carries himself, all broody and mysterious-like. But underneath that dark exterior, Darkwing's got a heart of pure gold and an unwavering commitment to justice. Dude's not afraid to get his hands dirty if it means taking down the baddies, you feel me? But even when he's dishing out those brutal beatdowns, Darkwing always stays true to his moral code and doesn't cross that line into straight-up villainy. And let's not forget about that mad dedication he's got, fam. Darkwing's been through some serious struggles and setbacks, but he never gives up the fight. Dude's like a relentless force of nature, always pushing forward and doing what's right. Darkwing is a shoo-in for the good tier. Doc Seismic. On the surface, he's just this brilliant scientist trying to push the boundaries of what's possible. But once you start digging deeper, you realize homie's got some shady tactics and questionable morals. I gotta give it to the doc, though. Dude's a freaking genius. Like, the kind of mind that's always 10 steps ahead of everyone else. But that big brain of his is also what makes him so dangerous. See, Doc Seismic's not afraid to get his hands dirty or cross a few lines if it means achieving his goals, whatever they may be. Dude's all about the ends, justifying the means, and that's a slippery slope, fam. And let's not forget about that whole playing God vibe he's got going on, you dig? Doc Seismic's always pushing the boundaries of what's ethical and what's not, and sometimes he goes too far. So, while Doc Seismic might not be a straight-up supervillain, his morally gray tendencies and willingness to bend the rules definitely land him in the somewhat evil tier. Red Rush. Red Rush has got this unwavering sense of justice and moral code that he lives by, no questions asked. Not much screen time, but he still seemed a great guy trying his best to do his job. War Woman. She is not afraid to get her hands dirty if it means taking down the baddies, you feel me? But even when she's dishing out those brutal beatdowns, War Woman always stays true to her moral code and doesn't cross that line into straight-up villainy. Not much to talk about her, but she was actually pretty good. D.A. Sinclair. He is always twisting the law to suit his own agenda. Sinclair's not afraid to get his hands dirty or step on a few necks if it means maintaining his power and control. And let's not forget about that whole ends justify the means mentality he's got going on, you feel me? Dude's convinced that his shady tactics and underhanded deals are all for the greater good. But we all know that's just a load of BS. But what really seals the deal for me is Sinclair's complete lack of empathy or remorse. Dude's cold as ice, always putting his own interests above everything else, even if it means ruining innocent lives in the process. So, with his corrupt nature, ruthless ambition, and total disregard for justice, D.A. Sinclair is for the evil tier. Rex-Splode. Alright, now we gotta talk about Rex-Splode. Rex's motivations are kind of all over the place. Sometimes he's out here helping the good guys. Other times he's just looking out for number one. Dude's got a serious case of every man for himself mentality. And let's not forget about those shady dealings he's always getting mixed up in. Rex is not above bending a few rules or greasing a few palms to get what he wants. So, while Rex might not be a shining beacon of good or a straight-up villain, his morally ambiguous nature and questionable methods definitely land him squarely in the neutral tier. Angstrom Levy. When it comes to Angstrom Levy, this dude's a real piece of work. He is always scheming and plotting like some kind of mad scientist gone rogue. Levy's not afraid to get his hands dirty or cross every line imaginable if it means achieving his twisted goals. The wild playing God vibe he's got going on. Dude's always pushing the boundaries of what's ethical and what's not, experimenting with powers and abilities that no one should ever mess with. Dude's a straight-up sociopath, always putting his own interests above everything else, even if it means ruining countless innocent lives in the process. His agenda against Invincible was historic in my opinion. So, with his deranged brilliance, complete disregard for ethics, and total lack of a moral compass, Angstrom Levy is a no-brainer for the devil tier. Dude's a real-life supervillain straight out of your worst nightmares, and that's what makes him so terrifying. General Craig. He, always barking orders and treating his troops like disposable pawns. Craig's not afraid to get his hands dirty or sacrifice as many lives as it takes to achieve his twisted goals. But what really seals the deal for me is Craig's complete lack of empathy or remorse. He tries to act like a protector, but deep down he isn't. In my opinion, Anissa's methods are often a little excessive. Chick's got a bit of a temper and a tendency to take things too far, crossing lines that even some villains wouldn't cross. I get it. She is trying to do her job, but her complexes makes her seem a hard person, which she really is, and her job kinda demands it. I'm gonna place her in somewhat evil tier, and we are done. So, this was the tier list for Invincible characters. Let me know which one you personally agrees with it. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Till then, take care, and have a nice day.